What's up, guys? Welcome to another video of DevTalks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering technology-wise. In this video, we're going to be talking about how hard is it and why new grads are struggling to find jobs in this tough market. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let's dive right in.
Only 27% of new graduates in STEM fields in the U.S. secure a job in their field within 6 months of graduation.
The job prospects for recent graduates are down significantly from a year ago, so what is going on?
In February 2025, the unemployment rate for recent graduates increased significantly compared to the previous year.
The unemployment rate for recent grads reached 5.8% in March. That's up from 4.6% the same time a year ago.
With a 15% decline in job offers compared to the previous year, the employment outlook does not appear to be improving.
Labor conditions for recent college grads have deteriorated noticeably in just the past few months.
Factors such as federal budget cuts, uncertainty in tariff policy, and the exponential growth of artificial intelligence have made the tech job market particularly difficult. So, why are tech graduates struggling to find jobs?
I could tell you a few reasons. Personal experience, and I mean that as their own personal experience, not knowing how to highlight certain stuff on the resumes. When you're in college now, what you have to do is really look out for internships and trying to work your butt off to get return offers, to get your foot into a door. That's the major advice that I give to some of my friends, and I'll go through stuff later in this video. And then also, there's not many entry level kind of positions nowadays, and if you do, it's a lot of people that you're competing with in a lot of different formats and a lot of different places that are hiring, especially with a lot of companies downsizing in a sense. A lot of people think it's downsizing with AI coming out, but it's really like they're opening different doors with AI, but at the same time they're closing others. So when they're getting rid of people on layoffs and everything, and then you already have a lot of people trying to get a new job or work in different areas, how hard is it to do so? And pretty much working through all of that, that is all some reasons why it's like completely hard for somebody young to be going into the market. A lot of positions that I've seen looking around, they're not exactly entry-level positions, and if they are, they're very few. And you still need some experience, some training, whatever. You have to know how to leverage your projects for work experience and things, because you can do that. If you've done certain work in the past in college that wasn't even internships, you can leverage that stuff as internships to get a new entry-level position. And those new entry-level positions are really like mid-level positions in a sense now. But let's figure out and see what else they have to say before I get into assuming. I could be wrong.
As 2025 progresses, signs of a deteriorating job market for young professionals are becoming increasingly evident. According to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the unemployment rate among recent college graduates reached 5.8% in March of this year, up from 4.6% in the same month of 2024. This upward trend contrasts with the traditionally positive image of college graduates, who used to have unemployment rates below the national average. Currently, that gap has narrowed to historic lows, reflecting the overall weakening of job opportunities for young people.
Many graduates will run into a bottleneck of entry-level openings as companies hold hiring levels steady.
Even more concerning is the phenomenon of underemployment.
And that's what I was saying. So if a lot of companies, like they used to during COVID, all these companies employed everywhere. It was so easy to get those experience for all those people and whatnot, but they overemployed a lot of people during COVID time. And now a lot of companies are scared to employ that amount of people, especially with AI coming out and them leveraging AI and being like, we don't need as many people for specific tasks anymore. And literally, like, if you're going to put it in some sense, how many companies wanted to that now invest into new talent versus more mature talent? And it depends on what departments they're all going into, right? Like if you're going into an AI, it might be easier for somebody entry who's been working with AI on their own sense to get a job in that kind of field, but not every field is hiring that kind of level anymore. There's a bottleneck, as she said, there's a bottleneck of entry positions only open And there's tons of college graduates every single year. Every single year. And more people are shifting into I think engineering thing, even though it's one of the hardest majors. In a sense, I feel like it's becoming way more popularized for people to get into tech or want to get into tech in some type of way or become an engineer and go to college for it. So therefore, when all these other people come in and they're trying to get these new jobs and everything, some companies sit there and be like, hey, AI can already do what the entry level people do. We would have to basically invest in them for them to get to the point that we want them to be. Are we willing to take that chance? What companies have the money to do that? What's the risk factors and everything? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to get into there. It's not nothing like first day out of graduation, especially with no experience, you're not jumping into anything. You have to do a lot of practice, a lot of prep. Interviews take a long time to go through all their processes and things like that. You can be interviewing with one specific company for weeks, depending on timing and everything. So it all depends on a lot of those things.
In March 2025, 41.2% of recent graduates were working in positions that did not require a college degree, an increase from 40.6% the previous year. This figure reveals a significant mismatch between academic training and actual labor market demand, particularly in sectors like tech, where a closer correlation between education and employability would typically be expected. According to one analysis, both employers and job seekers are paralyzed by uncertainty. This paralysis has resulted in a visible contraction of opportunities. For example, internship offers, which traditionally increase in the spring, fell by 11 percentage points compared to the previous year.
62% of young people who completed their education are not in their intended career.
Experts point out that internships are a more reliable indicator than entry-level jobs, as the latter increasingly demand several years of prior experience, effectively excluding most new graduates.
And those internships, this is why I always tell people to do internships, because internships count as your experience. They count as working experience. You've gone out and worked there, and it's an easier loop into potentially growing with the company to get that initial few years of experience, that entry level kind of standard and everything. And if you sit on your hands, you're going to be missing out on it. And they're pretty much saying here, especially with companies that are doing, a lot of companies out here doing hiring freezes. They don't want to hire as many people, and just the overall numbers. If you were in college, go look for internships. Now, getting an internship may not be easy, but also spring is not the internship time. A lot of people are confused with tech internships. They don't understand when the applications actually start and begin for internships. Yes, she said the spring numbers dropped. I get that. But spring internship availability, when they bring up those applications, those internships are last call, last minute. Somebody dropped out of the internship, that the role that they already had for this summer, or they just dropped the internship, or they just created something. They just needed something. They're last minute internship opportunities in the spring. That's just how it is. The time when new next year summer internships comes up is around early fall, late summer. That August, September, October, those 3 months are the months that you need to be looking for applying to internships. They don't tell you this. And the only way you find this out is if you talk to somebody who's interning before, or you talk to other interns. You go out in college and ask them when it begins. The processes begin earlier in the previous year. So you really have to get on it. If you want one for your summer internship for your junior year, your sophomore year, and I've done videos about this why some people said that you shouldn't do it for your freshman year and everything, but if you can get it in your freshman year as well, go get it. Try every single year around that time. Shoot, when you become a freshman, it depends on how advanced you are, because in some universities, the university I went to, you couldn't just jump into all of the curriculum classes for engineering and everything. There's some like restrictions and things. I'm trying to remember what they called them. I haven't been in college in a few years now, but they like certain dependent classes that you have to take before you can take another one, whether it was a certain level of math and everything, which puts a blocker on some people because you need to be able to reach these requirements to be able to take the specific class. So are you learning code on your own? Are you doing your own projects on your own? If this is something that you're actually interested in, we need to get in a phase of let's begin this a lot sooner. Maybe you begin this on your transition summer from, I know it's going to suck because it's your first summer out of high school, going into college or whatever. Senior year of high school, in that summertime before going to being a freshman in college, work on stuff to try to be more advanced, be more proactive and everything so that you can try to build up as much of these opportunities to get the job. That's the best game I have for you guys.
This labor market cooling is not limited to the tech sector. A study conducted between February and March found that major companies such as Chevron, PepsiCo, and Southwest Airlines have reduced their hiring plans for recent graduates. Only 24.6% of surveyed firms stated they intended to increase entry-level hiring in spring 2025, down from 27% in the previous fall. This is the lowest level recorded since fall 2020, during the height of the pandemic crisis. The salary outlook also shows mixed signals. According to published projections, salaries for computer science graduates are expected to fall by 3.6%, while salaries for degrees in agriculture and natural resources are projected to increase by 2.8%. However, these estimates were gathered before the start of the new administration and do not reflect the current impact of fiscal and tariff policies implemented in the first months of Donald Trump's second term.
The Department of Education restarts today collecting federal student loans in default after the long pandemic-era pause, leaving millions of Americans worried they could have their paychecks or benefits garnished.
The Trump administration has reinstated the collection of overdue federal loan payments through automatic paycheck deductions, tax refund seizures, and the garnishment of Social Security and disability or retirement benefits. This policy, which reverses the pandemic-era suspension from 2020, represents an added burden for millions of young professionals. According to one report, 20.5% of federal student loan borrowers were...
I feel like this loan borrowing stuff is a load of crap. You only get in student loans by the way you navigate your money and everything. I graduated with a little bit of student loans and everything. I paid off my loans really quickly. I was trying to be smart on what college and university I go to and went to. So I don't want to blame student loans as a reason why graduates are struggling to find jobs right now. It just doesn't make sense. But